Alrighty, so on this week for the Sunday breakdown, this is where we're going to kind of pick up at. And basically, this is where we last left off with GJ being the market structure. We're on the daily time frame. So what we're going to do is we're first going to draw a structure to ensure and make sure that we understand our supply and demand zones and our overall structure and where we are within the overall move. So based on how I see it, you can see price kind of making these higher highs and higher lows and maintaining. Then we have this volatile drop that perceives it as if we broke structure. We may have broke structure on one time frame, but not the higher time frame. So the key throughout this all is to kind of know where you are within structure overall, so that way the market doesn't fake you out. So boom, we backtrack to the weekly time frame. Well, from here up here, if we were supposed to even just start from here to here, for example, we kind of came and did this pullback right here. Long story short, why we're starting right here is because we're headed up here. I feel like our goal throughout these next couple of weeks of trading is to kind of head back up here to this negative 20, to this 207 area. So throughout that, we have our point A, we have our point B of our trend line, and we're going to go back to the 10-hour time frame to kind of ensure and make sure we understand where we are within this trend. Now, this trend has been a little bit of a funny one, just because we kind of broke and retest so much areas. So I want to kind of remove the market structure, and then most importantly, I want to hide the fib and kind of make this fib visible for the higher time frame only. So we're gonna change the visibility of our fib, and we're gonna leave this for the days, and we're gonna leave it for the hours, but we're gonna leave it for the 11-hour and higher. So now we're just looking at supply and demand via the higher time frame and this trend line that we got that price seems to be bouncing off of around. Now, right around here, we can deem that this area, like we were saying, was a market structure area. And from here, we made a transition of trend and we came back and retest. So what we're going to do, because we know this is the higher high, we're looking at the move within the move, which basically is this one right here, right? We came up to a certain high point and then we decided to drop and retest this area. Remember, 9 times out of 10, whenever we're doing a retest of an area, it's the retest trick being activated. So you can see right around here, boom, boom. I drew this right here for a particular reason, because this candle, and I'll point it out, this candlestick area right around here was the engulfing of this overall area. Price came up, we rejected, and then we kind of came back and retest that, reconfirming that where buyers last took over, we were able to confirm and kind of continue moving up. You can see from here that we ended this high point and we made a even higher point within this area to where we could begin to solidify trend from. So really from right here is where we're going to start our next market structure movement, because on this lower time frame of the 10-hour, we came back and found support off the 61.8, and the 61.8 is being a market structure area. So now we can do something like this, right? Not only can we do something like this, but on this time frame, we're gonna kind of hide the visibility of this trend line as well, because this trend line is gonna be for our higher time frames, and we're gonna kind of make it bigger so you can see it on the 11-hour only, and then boom. And then what we're gonna do on this time frame is we're gonna draw up a new trend line that's gonna be for this 10-hour and below, because we have something to where price may be able to kind of touch back and drop within this area. We're not 100% sure yet, but we're gonna kind of continue going. Then from here, what we're gonna do is we're gonna kind of break out our fibs again, and we're gonna kind of draw it from wick to wick, and boom. You can see right around here we have a 38.2. This is why fibs are meant to be altered, because we're gonna get a new market structure area, and then from here. Keep in mind, this is the area that we got to kind of break above, which is this wick right here. So once price breaks above this wick, we will be loading for our new highs. So everything that we do within this move would just be higher lows being maintained. So from here to here, we made a push about somewhere like around up here. Okay. And essentially, we're just measuring the highs within the move. You can see right around here. We got this little retest from here to here. I don't know if you guys can see that. And this may be a little supply and demand zone that may be coming back to get tested later. Drawing it even to the next higher point. See that we basically came back and tested 23.6. And then it wasn't until most recently that we came back around here. Same thing. Came back, pulled back 23.6. And then boom. Now, boom, we came back. We dropped instantly to the 38.2. And you can see based on where we were within structure that we had a high point right around somewhere like around here. And that price was basically coming back to retest this whole area, right? So then we broke up, we came, boom, we had a retest, price came back, pushed and tried to push and then failed to break this area. So we know right off the back that we have some form of resistance up here. When I look over here from based off of structure from left to right, I can see that we have a little zone from here to here within this area, and it may be acting as resistance. If I was supposed to switch it to the line chart real quick, I can probably tell you that we even have another one similar like around right here. Let's switch it back and let's see, yep, from body to wick. Yep. So we can say that, hey, it's safe to say that we have a bit of a resistance up here. So now, based on how I see it, based on this area, this is the last market structure area. This is where we're pulling back, and basically we're at this 50% mark as of right now. Now, the only interesting part about it is because we have a new point right here, it would be too steep to draw a trend line. So we don't really have any other market structure areas as of right now. So let's kind of go down. Let's look at double the data. So now from here, we're looking at the 5 hour. Keep in mind the 5 hour structure is different. So we're going to kind of pick up where we left off, and we're just going to kind of see same thing. And all we're doing is revalidating our, basically our, our fib to kind of make sense of this time frame as well. So this is basically where we left off as of right now. So based on how I see, even if I go down to the 2 hour from this 5 hour time frame, it would be no different as far as where Fibonacci goes because of where we are within structure. I feel like essentially what we're doing is we're coming back to get a higher time frame retest. So we're going to kind of make that load, and we're going to go to the 2 hour. Same thing. Now, buyers kind of left almost testing right here, which means that they found some type of support down here on this lower time frame. When it is that I look at it and I'm looking at just structure in general on when we came back and any indecision areas within this area, the only indecision area that I see is this one right here, where we kind of came back right here. And I'll kind of draw it for you so you guys can see it how I see it. And notice price kind of came up, right? Then we came back, then we came up, then we came down, then we came up, then we came down, then we came, then we rejected, then we came up, then we bounced. And basically, theoretically, from what I'm trying to show you is we keep on bouncing off of something within this area. So kind of getting my supply and my demand zones kind of get drawn. I'm going to go ahead and clone this one. Going to drag it somewhere like around down here. And we're going to kind of draw a visit from body to wick. See body to wick right around here, where we kind of acted as an area of support, resistance, support, support, and then we end up turning around and acting as support. This is the only area that I see within here that kind of makes sense. And then kind of looking at this body of range, I can see that here we have another body to wick area from right here. So I'm thinking that we should be good for the longs as long as price kind of respects. We're basically damn near of a 195 area flat. So as long as price can kind of come up to this major QP of the 195 flat and find some type of support, we're good. Or when price opens up, price can actually come back as low as the 250 QP and find some support as well. But I say if we break this area right here, we should be more than good to kind of ride these longs all the way up. And basically what I'm seeing the longs so far is if we do break this area, we can have a decent stop loss, which is set at this low down here, right? And we can ride the move from zone to zone, from this zone all the way up to this zone. That's already 100 pips, right? You can ride it from 195 to 196. And then we should be able to kind of ride the move all the way up to right somewhere up here, because based on where I see it up here, we have another area that's used as support and resistance all the way up here, right? We're somewhere like around here. But looking at where we kind of broke structure, which is going to kind of be most important for that retest, is going to be somewhere like around here. So we could damn near almost ride this all the way to 197 as well, which is damn near almost like about 200 pips, 190 in pips. So we have kind of several zones that we want to kind of break through for this week. Kind of looking back at the higher time frame to make sure that we're in confluence. You can see this is where we actually broke. We broke without any retest. We just dropped. Yeah, guys, you know what happens after we drop. We're going to kind of make a market structure retest. And we got this zone, this zone, and this zone. We can see based on this 5 hour time frame that the sellers are completely exhausted. They can't keep it down for nothing. And it's looking like they're trying to make support. Looking at the same thing on the 6 hour, they kind of left off looking like slightly exhausted. So I'm hoping that we can kind of, go ahead and make that retrace going back up. A couple areas that we want to kind of look out for to take profit at is right around here. If we are able to successfully engulf this candle right around here on this 6 hour time frame, we should be good. At this moment in time, that's 65 pips riding into our target. That means you can set your TP pass here if we break above it and at least lock in 65 pips for a daily trade. Looking at the 7 hour time frame, it's a long way going up. 8 hour time frame, if we are able to even break up here and go even higher, you can definitely move your stop loss up and set a pass up here once we engulf this candle. We may do this in a variation of some sort, so I'd kind of give this move some time to kind of play out, but based on what it looks even as low as the 1 hour as of right now, buyers are just taking over down here to where we kind of came back, where this last seller's candle left at. So we're looking good to kind of ride the uptrend kind of going back up. Going down lower to like the 15-minute, you can see that buyers been took over in the form of a variation down here. And going as low as the 5-minute goes, you can see that buyers took over, we retested it. Same thing again, once buyers took over here, we retested it and we kept on going long. So the trend is looking up to set up nice to kind of go upwards. We're looking good overall for these longs, and I ain't gonna hold you. Everything's looking right. You guys got any questions? I know I said a mouthful.
No.
No, go ahead.
I just noticed that you were using to evaluate for the day trading or 2 hours per day. You fluctuate between from 4 to 10 hours. And did that help you project for in between trading, like the Asian session and the European session, to kind of figure out if you want to hold where you'll be floating at?
Yes and no, because I say yes, right? And I want to say yes just due to the simple fact of we're starting off here. So depending on where we go, right, for this Asian session, right, like we may make the high, right, but we still maintain this higher time frame, higher low, right? I could say that probably London session, we're probably going to even do a slight retest and then a continuation. It's all for me to kind of adapt. But I say yes for the most part because we're starting off from here, so I have something to kind of base my overall analysis off of. But then for the next session, it's kind of, I won't know until I basically get there as far as what price action goes. Because remember, I'm an observer of the market. All I do is observe the market, and then I kind of make my analytical decisions from there. So this is based on my observations as of right now because the market is not moving. It is subjected to change based on where the market shows us that we're going. Yes, sir. Anybody else? No? All right, so this is...
I do have one more.
Go ahead, please.
I noticed when you were changing the fib for visibility, I'm kind of in the range to where I'm using the fibs for maybe a 2 or 3 hour and trying to figure out how they work under a 1 hour. And so I know you were trying to
readjust, readjust based on structure.
Yeah, how do you do it, but how do you put markers to keep yourself to realign yourself?
So that's where these little eclipses come with the higher lows. It's gonna I kind of remember what time frame I drew it off of now within the current moment. So I kind of know where to pick back up off of based off of me going down, because this is still the higher time frame, higher low. So I can still base it off of here. But even though I'm doing that, I'm still doing structure on this time frame and making sure that it aligns with the same data that I got on the higher time frame with the break of structure and the transition of trend, and kind of seeing where it is that the trend is taking me and making sure that it's in confluence with the higher time frame just before I jump into it. Because one trend can be showing you one thing on one time frame, and then this time frame can be showing you something different with that trend. So I want to make sure that it at least aligns or is similar, or else I'm going to get something different. And then if I get something different, that means that maybe the setup isn't ready yet. So that's where this market structure kind of comes in.
I have a question.
Go ahead, bro.
Say when market opened up, would you be looking for a retest trick or another type of variation before you would enter, or like what would be your criteria? You be like, okay, I'm a little confident that it's gonna come up from here.
Well, just kind of looking at the lower time frame. As far as for the retest trick now, I based this retest trick off of I'm going to tell you right now, I think it was the 1 hour. Yep, the 1 hour. So I would at least be looking for price to kind of come up and then kind of retest here. It doesn't have to, but based on the volume that we've already started, you can see even down here that sellers kind of bottomed out, and this is where they exhausted and buyers kind of took over. And then kind of looking here, right, we can see that, hey, this is some form of structure that we were acting as an area of resistance based on this demand zone, supply zone. I say demand zone because last time it acted over here was a demand zone, but now it turned into a supply zone again, and then we just reacted off of it, broke through. So I'm expecting for us to hit some type of resistance, come back, retest, and then continue. But it doesn't have to do that. Volume can just open up and just shift the momentum and just go upwards. So really just got to be prepared. But based on what I see as of right now, price did kind of show this kind of leaving, so it could do a slight retest and then a continuation. It's just these bits of details that kind of matter. But that's why I said once we break this 195 QP, but it all depends on where we are by 6:30, because that's when I plan to take a setup.
That's around the time that the spreads lower back down and everything.
Exactly. Yes, sir.
Okay, just making sure.
Yes, sir.